Welcome to the Existential Empath Podcast. My name is Tanya, and I am an intuitive empath. My intention is to share valuable tips, tools, and techniques that I have learned so you can tap into your own inner healer naturally and intuitively. Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you are all doing well. Today, I wanted to discuss detachment and the overwhelming sense of freedom that you can feel when you learn how to detach. And this can go hand in hand when you are quantum leaping or timeline shifting. And so I have been practicing this a lot over the past several years and learning how to disconnect when things feel out of alignment or feel out of control or even chaotic for that matter. And so, how do we move to a greater level of consciousness? And a lot of it is simply by not reacting to our environment, but sitting in a space of self reflectiveness, pausing, allowing our nervous system to self regulate, and just really waiting for those chemicals in our body to just simmer down and to relax. And so if you feel like you're on the go all the time and you just feel like you can't turn things off, then you may want to practice the art of detachment. And this is where you can really find yourself finding your own alignment and really witnessing where you're out of alignment in your life. And so recently I have detached myself from social media and electronics. My iPhone actually kicked the bucket and it was time for me to get a new one. And I decided I'm going to hold off on this for a little bit and just see what it feels like to not be attached to my cell phone, to not be attached to social media. And I've got to say, it has been liberating. It has been so freeing to not have to be connected to that all the time. And it feels really nice to not have to be attached to anything, in that reality or in that timeline. And so I'm sure there'll come a point when I decide to, reattach to that, to one of those or both, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how that all plays itself out. But this is how we can expand and grow our consciousness. And really, what it does is when we aren't being distracted by external sources, we are kind of forced to go within. We're kind of forced to look internally into what is, bringing things to the surface. What are things that we need to heal? Who are some people in our lives that maybe we don't feel a positive connection with, or maybe we need to detach from certain energies around us, and that could be people, places, or things. And so when we learn the art of detachment, it really allows us to tap into that flowing state of the universe. And I've recognized this many times in my life when those times when you feel like you're on a hamster wheel and you're just running and running and running in the same direction and nothing seems to be changing. That's when you want to practice the art of detachment, because really what you're doing is you're pulling yourself out of that timeline or out of that reality to allow yourself to self-regulate and allow your nervous system to calm down. And when you allow your nervous system to calm down, you can see things more clearly. Your breath starts to slow down, and your mind starts to slow down, and you can really see things from a greater vantage point when you learn how to detach. So, detachment is really just experiencing our feelings without allowing them to control us. And when we are on that hamster wheel or we feel like our lives are just spiraling out of control, this is when we want to practice detachment. And detachment isn't avoidance, because what happens is when you detach, you will actually start to feel the emotions within your body. So you're not avoiding, you're actually going to be moving and processing those emotions. And sometimes just the distractions of whether it's, what's going on at work or the people around you or what's going on in the world, just really disconnecting from that for a little bit will allow you that space. And when we create space within our energetic system, it allows for new things to move in, and it allows you to control what's moving into your space. So, when we detach, we really aren't avoiding. We are just allowing ourselves more space to heal, more space to grow, more space to take the next step in our lives, more space to see things more clearly. So we know which direction or which path to take. And so, when we take a step back, we can look at things a little bit more objectively when we detach, and we can let things go. And it's important for us to accept the things that we cannot change. And oftentimes, when we are attached, we have an energetic cord to a person, place, or a thing, and that will kind of siphon us a little bit. It pulls away from our worthiness, it pulls away from our own sense of self support, and because we're relying on something outside of ourselves. And when we detach, it really does allow us to tap into our confidence and our inner being and our inner knowing and our intuition. And when we are attached to others or attached to things outside of us, then it can create a distraction in who we are. It can actually create a distraction from our own subtle voice within ourselves telling us where we should go or what we should do, because we are tuning in to what's going on outside of us. And so just that simple act of detachment can allow us to feel within our bodies and to sense things more clearly within our own intuition. And you know how it feels when you go out on a hike, or you go spend the day alone. Maybe you go to the lake and kind of sit there and just relax. You know how those thoughts will start kind of coming to the surface at first, but by the time you're done, you feel a lot better, you feel a lot clearer. And really what you're doing is you're practicing the art of detachment when you're doing that. And so it's important to do this every now and then. It's kind of like an energetic detox, really, like shutting off social media, shutting off your cell phone, shutting off your computer as much as you can. I mean, if you work in a job where you're constantly go, 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 you know, just sit back and take a look at ways that you can detach that are reasonable for you, and do it the best way that you can, and don't beat yourself up about it. Just allow yourself that time, that solitude, that alone time. And each and every one of us needs that. Some of us need it more than others. I know me, I'm 95% alone. I love it. I love my alone time. And I know I have people in my life that have a hard time with that. They have a hard time that I love my alone time, and they take it personally, but really it's not personal. It's really just me. This is how I function. This is how I am. I'm an introverted extrovert. When I'm doing my 5% extrovertedness, that's me. But when I've got my 95% introvertedness, that's me too. And I'm just very, very comfortable in my own energy and in my own space. And it's taken me many years to get to this point. There was a time when I wasn't comfortable, in my own energy. And now I just don't know what I would do without it. I just love it so much. And so, just take a look at where you are, on the scale. Are you an introverted extrovert like me? I'm probably more introverted now than I ever have been. I would look back at my 20s and say I was probably the flip. I was probably 95% extroverted and 5% introverted. But I think as I've gotten older, I've really seen the value and the worthiness for my own self regulation when it comes to being introverted. I feel that. And, there's times when I feel the need to connect and times when I don't. And, it's really important to set boundaries when you are in these spaces, because not everyone can handle that introverted side. Not everyone can understand, why do you like to spend 95% of your time alone? I mean, doesn't that sound lonely? And to me, it's like, no, it's rejuvenating, it's healing. I love every minute of it. But then there's times when I'm like, okay, I feel like it's time for me to connect with others. And so it really just takes that balance. But I've really tuned into my intuition as well to have a deeper understanding as to why I like spending that time alone. I like to listen to music. I like to read. I like to learn. I like to write. I like to take walks and listen to the nature. And oftentimes, when you're with someone else, it's distracting, and it kind of takes away from you tuning in to all of your senses and what's around you. So, listen to your own internal guidance and see where you're at when it comes to spending time alone and spending time with others. And we need to learn too to detach from others' choices, knowing that they're on their own spiritual path, and allowing, that sense of release. Okay. So, I give permission for them to release me, and I also give myself permission to release them. And, asking people to release you, because when we hold on to people, uh, it makes it really difficult for us to walk our path, right? Because maybe their path is different than ours. And it's important for us to tune into that and get a deeper sense of, does this feel in alignment to me? Am I following someone else's path, or am I actually listening to my own inner guidance system and following my own path? And this has been a learning process for me, because like I said, I would connect with others, and then I would find myself following their path, and it was pulling me away from what I was really truly meant to be doing. And so I feel like this year I've really been anchored and grounded into my own path. And that may hurt other people's feelings, because I'm not as communicative with my friends and family around me, or maybe I'm not as easygoing as I used to be. But that's because I was oftentimes following someone else's path, or following someone else's belief system. And I got to a point where I had to kind of take a step back and say, Tanya, what do you believe? What is your belief system? And unfortunately, that can be a lot different than the people around you. And but then it can be the same too. It really just depends. And my belief systems change regularly based off of what I'm learning, how I'm expanding my consciousness. And so it's really just this ebb and flow, and it's finding that ebb and flow within your life. And I think detachment is the beginning of that. Just learning how to detach and be in your own energy will allow you to tune into your own intuition and your own belief systems, and allow you to heal and move through that, and to do some of that shadow work, that is very important. And it's a lot better to do that shadow work alone, because you can move through it faster. And if you do need to reach out to someone, then do that, and if you have to set boundaries and say, hey, I need to spend some time alone and I don't know how long it's going to be, then do that. And the people around you who value you and will listen to you, and they will honor that, and they will respect that. And if they don't, then maybe they aren't meant to be in your life, or at least at this time. And so, when we choose how we react to others, or we choose how we respond to others versus reacting, then it allows us to learn how to detach as well. And so we can step away from things that may be harmful to us, harmful energies of others, or harmful foods, maybe harmful cravings, harmful addictions, alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be, whatever that crutch is or whatever that attachment is. When we learn how to detach from it, it allows us to open up that space and to see the energy from a more objective standpoint. And then we can move through it, and we can kind of see it from a third party. And, really, detachment allows us to take a deep breath. It's really what it does. And it, allows us to have a little bit more patience in our lives. And so, we can kind of listen to ourselves without losing ourselves in others, losing ourselves in our work, losing ourselves in the state of the world, whatever it may be, wherever you may be losing yourselves. Maybe you're a kite in the wind, a kite in a hurricane, and you're just flapping around all over the place, and you don't feel grounded. You don't feel like, I don't even know what my energy is. Start practicing the law of detachment. It'll definitely help you. And it's really helped me, almost to the point where it becomes a part of my routine. It's like, okay, I've got to physically detox, and now I'm going to energetically detox. And it just helps me with grounding, is really what it does. And it allows us to be in the world but not of the world, right? And so it kind of just frees us to live our life with more ease, more harmony, more balance, and more grace, really. And so, what are some things that we might want to detach from? We might want to detach from negativity, We could detach from distractions in our life, whatever those look like. We could detach from overthinking. That's a big one. When we're overthinking things, it can be really difficult. And so, trying to separate ourselves from that a little bit could be helpful. We might want to detach from an outcome. Maybe there's something in your life that you are trying to attract and it's just not coming. Then detach from it for a little bit, go do something else and see if it'll attract to you. And I've had that happen to me in the past. It's like I've been so focused on something and it's not coming, it's not coming. And then boom, I go out and I take a walk or I go spend the day doing something else. And then boom, I come back and it's right there. And I'm like, wow, that's all it took. It just took a little bit of detachment. And so, you definitely want to detach from clinging on to things. When we cling on to things, we create resistance and we create this hold onto things. And there could be this sense of codependency or just that clinginess. I mean, you guys all know how it feels when someone is being a stage 5 clinger. I mean, that's no fun, right? You're just like, oh gosh, I just want them to give me some space. I feel suffocated. I can't breathe. And that's no fun. So if you're on the other side of that, being the clinger, then think about how it feels to be on the other side. It's not fun. So release it, let it go. It's kind of like that tug of war. Just let it go, right? And allow yourself that space, because when you let it all go, you expand your power and you can align with a new experience, and it allows flow to come in your life that may not have been there before. And so, just really moving yourself through that will allow you to open yourself up to new energies. And so, and also too, when you let things go, it allows you to expand more too. And I noticed that it's like when you're working on quantum leaping or timeline shifting, if you're holding on to things, from an old perspective, then you're still holding on to an old timeline. So detaching yourself from those things, my old phone kicked the bucket and I'm really considering changing my phone number because I'm still holding on to an old timeline, when I lived in Florida. And so it's time for me to make a change, to make a difference in my energetic blueprint. And so I'm really considering that. And these are just little things that we can do. It doesn't have to be these grandiose things. You can do these small things to detach. And you don't have to stay detached forever unless you want to. I mean, maybe you detach from a person or a place and then you move through a healing process and then you decide, wow, this isn't really what I want. And so you decide to just completely cut the cord, right there, then and there. And that's okay. Give yourself permission to do that. Or you detach and then you realize, wow, I really miss this person or I miss this location that I used to live. And I think I want to go back there. I think I want to reestablish that connection. Then give yourself permission to do that. So it's really based off of your choice and how you decide, to detach and to reattach. And so it's really just learning that art of disconnecting to reconnect. And how do you want to reconnect? And what does that look like to you? And it may look differently to each and every one of us. Things that I detach from, you may think are completely irrational or unreasonable. And vice versa. I could feel the same about things that you may detach from. And so it really just is based off of you and your choices and your energy. So I hope that this information was helpful to you. I know I'm navigating these waters of detachment as well, and just learning that it's not always easy, but sometimes it's needed. Sometimes it's really needed to balance yourself out, to re-regulate your nervous system, and to give yourself a nice reset. I think it's an Office Max commercial where they have a big red button, looks like a reset button. Sometimes we need to hit that big red button and we need to reset ourselves. And you might be surprised at, what that reset looks like, because it may look a lot different than where you are now before you start learning the act of detachment. So I hope you're all doing well, and I send you all so much uplifting energy and peace. Take care. You deserve to navigate your life in alignment with health, happiness, and abundance. To learn more about the services that I provide, including Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, EFT tapping, and the emotion code, visit my website at www.theexistentialempath.com.